The NFL draft is 7 days away, and we are here to give you 7 days of mock draft. This is what you get when you have someone that hates mock drafts, but knows it's that time of year. So we're going to give you one mock draft per day. Without further ado, let's jump right in.
Brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Two Growls, One Roar podcast. Hope you guys are doing well out there. You still got to let me know what you think about the new song, the new intro, the video, if you're watching on Spotify as well as YouTube. But without further ado, we are here to give you guys a mock draft. Now, we're going to do this thing a little bit differently. So think about the NFL draft. You have 7 rounds. We're 7 days away. We are going to go round by round and give you a mock draft every day leading up to the NFL draft for the Carolina Panthers. The way we're going to do this, though, is we're going to do one round per day and expand. So we're going to start with round 1 today. Tomorrow, we're going to go round 1 and round 2. Then we're going to go round 1, round 2, round 3. You get the picture until we cover all 7 rounds. Now, I know day 6, there would not be a 6th round pick for the Carolina Panthers, but we will work around that. So maybe we'll just do another flavor of the 5-round mock draft for the Panthers, knowing that the Panthers do have 1 pick in the 7th round today. What is this going to entail? We're going to change it up. So I'm not going to do the same players every time. The purpose of a mock draft, in my opinion, is really to see who and what may be available for the Panthers. Really get through the first 2 rounds, and you get into those later rounds, like which guy could potentially be there. Are there sleepers, guys that we should pick up? Without further ado, though, we are here today to talk about round 1, pick number 8. And spoiler alert, we are not trading back. Now, in future iterations, because this is going to be over 6 days, I'll likely throw in some trade back scenarios once we're in a space, but it doesn't make sense for me to trade back today. And you know what? When we talk about this trade back scenario, I did a whole video on it breaking down Dan Morgan continuing to reference the idea of trading back. I just was like, well, the odds, I don't know what the betting odds are for trading back for the Panthers and if they're going to be able to do it, but I feel like they have to be slim. You think about trade partners, it's someone that's going to want to leap over the Saints to get a quarterback, potentially. I think about the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's on the table, not knowing what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. And then not a quarterback, but the Dallas Cowboys. So I look at them as another team. You never know. You don't know who's guy and who likes what, to have the possibility to move up. People fall in love with players. That's how this thing works. But you guys can take a quick guess if you're watching 3 minutes into the episode and know exactly who we are going with in today's mock draft. And that is none other than the one and only Tet McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. This is round 1, pick number 8. Again, no trade backs, consensus, All-American. Is this the wide receiver that Bryce Young has been longing for? Is this it? Is he finally able to get this true number 1, get him a weapon that he can develop with and build alongside? We thought maybe it was going to be Jonathan Mingo. That didn't work. Maybe for a little bit last year, we thought it was going to be a Deontay Johnson. That didn't work. So we're back at square one. And now we have heard the entire offseason the Carolina Panthers feel really good about their wide receiver room. Okay, I get it. You're not going to really say anything too bad about the guys that you have here. But we can also acknowledge the benefit of upgrading. And you may be a person that says, well, I like Golden better. I like Ibuka, whoever your guy is. Just think of this pick in particular as a wide receiver at pick number 8. Maybe there are 2 or 3 wide receivers that could go in this slot. But for today, I like the size that he gives Bryce Young. And I'm not going to chew him or put him into a corner of like who I think he could be as far as comparing him to players in the NFL. But I do think size-wise, athleticism, ability to go up and get the ball, he's got a little bit more than Xavier Legette. We know Legette's raw. We know Jalen Coker's a really good prospect, but those guys are still going to be developing. And of course, you have reliable Adam Thielen and David Moore. We're going to talk about where he fits into the wide receiver room here in just a minute. But I would love to know what you guys think. What would you do round 1, pick number 8 for the Carolina Panthers? We will again talk about how Tet fits into the scheme in just a second. So let's go ahead. Now, well, I guess before we do, clearly there could have been an edge player. There could have been a linebacker. Could have been Jalen Walker. I've been back and forth on this a lot. I feel like, yes, there are also wide receivers the Panthers can get late. And if that's the path they go with, so be it. Everyone seems to believe that defense is going to be the choice. We keep talking about defense and adding skill players. I just think the Panthers need to have some reflection internally to think about what they are doing with their franchise quarterback. We saw Bryce Young do well, exceed expectations with the talent around him. But just because he did doesn't mean that the Panthers should not strongly consider giving him a better option. And then moving forward in the next year, you think about Coker, Xavier Legette, and Tet McMillan. Pretty good core, assuming Coker continues to develop and Xavier Legette takes the next step forward. Let's take a look at his college stats. I know we looked at this before in previous videos that I did, but solid production and consistent across the board. First 2 years in the Pac-12 as a freshman, 702 yards, 8 touchdowns, 39 receptions. Sophomore year, 90 receptions, 1,402 yards, 10 touchdowns, 107 yards per game. And then recently, his senior season, as he switched to the Big 12, or Arizona moved over to the Big 12, we should say, 84 receptions, 1,319 yards. Not bad at all, is it? And I know there are people who may be concerned with the comments that he made about watching film. I don't buy into it as much as other folks do. Number one, you look at that video, I think you have to, in full context, go watch the full video. Now, there's not an additional detail that he provides, but this is like a 10 or 15 minute day in the life of video. You see how much work he puts in. And we've talked about the wide receiver position. Yes, you do want to understand defensive looks, where to sit within zone, what happens here, how do they switch. All those things are important. How far you need to run your routes versus this team versus that team. But in general, it's not the same as a quarterback or a linebacker or someone who really has to know everything that's happening on the field. So I also think about when he was a college kid at that time. He's filming this documentary. I don't think he ever would have thought that would have made it out or would have blown up, but people are just detectives. And so all you get out of this is everyone overreacting to a college kid saying that he's not a fan of watching film and this, and this. And then you have all these other additional podcasts and people who are, yeah, that's a concern. Not really. It's not a concern. And I've seen numerous people, not me, but numerous people talking about this and saying, no, it's not a concern. So I don't think it should be, I don't think we should make it be what it is or make it bigger than it is, so to speak. But where does he actually fit into the equation? So this is my way too early depth chart projection if we were to go this route. So I think you would assume, unless there's a competition, that maybe he is your day one A1 X wide receiver, number one target for Bryce Young. In the slot, you would have Adam Thielen and Jalen Coker. Remember, Coker primarily played in the slot when Adam Thielen was out. Of course, we know Coker can also move over to the Z outside, spread out wide. And then Xavier Legette is your Z, your second option. David Moore behind him. So that's your 5. Most teams carry 5 to 6. There's still a chance that Chisena makes it or one of these other guys that they've brought over. That's your receiving core. So I think, I can't do it on the screen that I have, but imagine that we remove Tet McMillan from this equation. Like, how good do you really feel about the Panthers wide receiver group going into this season with, knowing that you have the potential to get Bryce Young, someone like this? And again, if Tet isn't your guy, whatever wide receiver you like the most within the first round is a possibility. Maybe you're someone that just leans into the second. So we're talking about where he fits, and you have to look back at the production or the lack thereof. So Jan Chisena had 3 receptions, 37 yards. We talked about Coker, 32 receptions, 478 yards, 2 touchdowns. Xavier Legette, 49, 497, 4 touchdowns. David Moore, very quiet and productive, 32, 351, 3 touchdowns. Adam Thielen, leading the way, 48 receptions, 615 yards, 5 touchdowns, even with missing time. Still, with Chisena coming back, sure, we saw him pretty decent in some spots towards the end of the season. Maybe he is going to be a guy that can develop, but I don't know. TJ Luther coming over the Patriots and Steelers, Dax Milne didn't see much of, and then Bryson Tremaine was with the Commanders this past year. He had 1 reception for -2 yards. So that's your core group. We know Deontay Johnson was very productive when he was here. It also felt like possibly Bryce Young was trying to force it to him. We can go back to the postseason, the off-season videos that were produced by the Carolina Panthers and talking about Johnson and how he's going to fit into the role. All the Carolina Panthers being the primary target, so maybe there was some forcing there with Bryce. But either way, I think this is a really solid move. And to be honest, I look at this draft and I think wide receiver, edge, those 2 that you can't go wrong, in my opinion. And there's a nice talent pool with pick number 8, should the Panthers stay there. I think the Panthers will be set up for success. So let me know what you guys think about Tet McMillan. We'll be back tomorrow, expanding into 2 rounds. Will we see a trade back? Possibly. Or will we keep it at pick 8 and 57? You'll have to say tune in. As always, folks, this is Carolina Dad. Appreciate y'all tuning in.